Hello everyone, I'm Rachel and you're listening to Let's Talk Avatar. This is a watch through of The Legend of Korra. Isaac and I will be discussing each episode and giving our opinions on it. Just as a reminder, this podcast does contain spoilers for The Legend of Korra. This is a teen-rated podcast, so listener discretion is advised.
Welcome back, everyone, to the Let's Talk Avatar podcast. I am Isaac.
I'm Rachel.
And today we are talking about episode 2 of season 4 of The Legend of Korra. It is titled Korra Alone.
Appropriate.
Very.
Once again, we are sharing one mic because, as you guys know, the cord went bad on one of our other mics, so we're still waiting on it.
As you guys know. Do they know, though?
Yeah, because I'm going to mention it in the other episode.
Oh, okay. I was like, wait. Yeah, equipment just likes to break on us, so...
Yeah, they like to be baddies.
I don't really know where to begin with this episode. Like, they're so... It's just Korra Alone. Like, it's... There's a lot.
We had to resist the urge to just, like...
brain vomit.
Everything that was on our mind, because as soon as the episode ended, we were like, oh my gosh, this part, oh my gosh, and we're like, no, hold it all in. But now that we had to hold it in for like a half hour to wait to record,
you know, like when you're in the car with your family, you have to pee, you've had to pee for like 4 hours, and you're like on your way back from vacation, it was like that.
Yeah, except the fact that like when you go pee, it's like a never-ending flow. We can't even start. The flow hasn't even started yet. We're still waiting for, like, the pee to come out, you know?
Yeah. Or the poison, like in Korra's case. Yeah, this episode is basically... We're seeing where Korra is at. Because in episode 1, we didn't really get enough information. And I feel like this episode is like, okay, you saw where everyone else is at. This is what Korra's going through. This is what she's been through the past, like, how many years? 3, 4 years?
Yeah. And
this is how she's dealing with it, so...
Yeah. I'd like to mention before we, like, really get into it, I used to hate on these episodes. Like,
same.
Her going through this, I was like, oh my gosh, come on, can we just move on past this? And I feel like you can tell when you've changed as a person because... You can tell you've changed as a person because of your views on things, how they change. You know, your stances on certain topics and even shows change over time depending on, I don't know, your experiences and your maturity level.
Or something as simple as, like, a character. Like, for us, with Korra.
Yeah. Yeah, because Korra in general I used to not really care too much about, you know?
She's just, she's like a 1 in a million kind of person. She's a go-getter to the extreme. So for me, I'm not that way. So I look at that character as like...
an annoyance kind of, right?
Yeah, and I don't necessarily understand her. But now, having watched it multiple times, I think she might be my favorite character in all of Avatar.
Like the Avatar universe,
yeah.
Because I asked you, but you never
Thus
answered.
far.
Yeah. I don't know if she's my favorite character in all the Avatar universe, but she is, she's definitely a lot higher on my list than before. The things she goes through in season 4, you know, you hear about the fandom talking about it, but until you really, like, sit down and watch these episodes and go in with more of an open mind and not let, like, Korra's character, like, your already preconceived feelings about her cloud your judgment, you realize, like, dang, she's been through a lot. And a lot of it, too, is her own doing. Like, it's like you said, she's literally fighting herself in this character. I mean, in this episode. You know what I mean? Like, her character is fighting herself throughout this entire episode.
Has been her whole life.
Which,
if you think about it.
I mean, we all are, constantly. We're all our biggest enemy is ourselves, like people say, because it's so true. We stop ourselves from reaching our full potential because we either care what people think too much, or we talk ourselves down, or all sorts of things, you know?
Something I failed to realize is I don't think Korra like, I just kept thinking to myself when I first would watch these through, like, well, why does it take this long to heal? Like, why is she doing this to herself? But it's like, sometimes the thing you need is time.
Mm-hmm.
To realize exactly where you need to be in that moment, how, like, what help you need, and all these different things. So, I think it's just a matter of, like, especially in this show, like, the universe aligning up, and that spirit literally taking her to Toph and telling her, like, this is where you need to be. Someone is looking for you right now.
That spirit, I don't remember it. So she goes, and during this episode, she goes back to the Tree of Time to reconnect with Rava, because at this point she can't access the Avatar state. And there's this cute little pear-looking spirit that's so adorable. I wish somebody would draw it and make a sticker of it. Maybe someone has. I have to go look on Etsy. But I want it so bad. And later on in the episode, there's like this cute puppy, and it turns out to be this spirit. And I'm like, what? Mind blown. Anyway, yes. I feel like we're going to jump all over with this episode because there's so many different things and flashbacks that happen.
Well, she's definitely struggling with the mental effects of poison. Mm-hmm. And
I mean, physical and mental.
This is, even though Korra is a strong person, like strong-willed mentally and physically, she has to keep being reminded of the fact that she was chained down, tortured, and almost killed, attempted murder on herself by this group of people. Mm-hmm. Simply because she is the Avatar.
You know what just came to mind right now is when Katara's healing Korra, and they're having those really deep conversations, and Katara tells her that, Korra talks about how Katara told her it's a lot of the stuff she's experiencing is probably in her head. And I think that's true, but I think you said something earlier that kind of correlates with this. I think that it is in her head, but it has become such a fear, like a spirit of deep fear, that she has manifested it into real life.
Into an actual spirit.
Yeah, like she's getting physical harm from this. And I think that goes to show you how strong trauma can be for someone, that you can have it literally physically manifested and affect your body. Because that's what's happening to her.
But you notice when she finally decides to chase after that fear, mm-hmm. is when it takes her to the spirit wilds.
Well, I mean, the spirit took her there.
The spirit does, but it's also, the reason she's following it is because she initially was following that, like, her own spirit of, like, mm-hmm. where she has, like, the chains and is poisoned.
How creepy, by the way, to, like, be constantly reminded of that. Well, when she's fighting with the fire sages and she sees Zahir when they jump at her. Like, she has a lot of PTSD, a lot of trauma from that situation, which I don't blame her. But, you know what's also crazy is it's like, that poison really messed her up more than anything else, because she fought Amon, she fought Vatu and Unalaq, and you would think that would have some intense PTSD, but that poison is like what got her, you know?
Well, I don't think that's the thing, is I don't think she's had time to deal mentally with what happened in season 1, what happened in season 2, what happened in season 3. Like, it's just, season 4, I feel like it's coming to a head.
Yeah.
And that's why she needs all of this help, is because she's like finally letting it out for the first time.
I think the big thing with Korra too is she doesn't want to ask for help. She's independent. She does not want to burden people. Even when she's writing Asami that letter, she's like, don't tell Mako and Bolin because I don't want them to worry. You know? It's like that. Even in the midst of her pain, she's still caring about the other people around her in her life. And I think because of that, that's hindering her healing too, because she's not allowing herself to, like, open up to people, you know? She doesn't want to burden anyone, and she wants to take care of it by herself or with the limited people around her, you know?
The main message I got from this was, you can do it on your own, but getting help from your friends, family, community, whatever it may be, is key. Mm-hmm. Like, that is really going to help you stay afloat.
I think for me, it's the same kind of thing, except of doing it on your own. Because, I mean, I think we can do things on our own, definitely.
There's a balance, I feel like, that should be...
Well, I mean, I think for her, in general for us, is we we can only do it alone. We are the only ones that can change our mindset. Like, it's just like what people say in real life. Like, you can't change someone. You can't make someone change. They have to make that choice. And that's the thing, is she's had to make a choice to get better, to keep going, and to come out stronger, you know? But yeah, allowing the people around you, like your support system, to help you and let them help you, because the majority of the time people want to help you. It's not a burden for them. Like, they love you and care about you. They want to do it. And yeah.
But I think for Korra, and this is really where I relate to Korra, is admitting that I need help is the hardest step. Mm-hmm. It's not actually getting help. It's admitting that there's something wrong with you physically or mentally, and getting over that hurdle. It's like that initial push.
Yeah. You know, it's what we've been talking about the last few days. It kind of coincides with this, is where does mental illness start and your personality ends, or vice versa, you know? Because I think a lot of times we kind of lump mental illnesses as part of your personality. Like, or
vice versa.
Yeah, like, oh, you're over anxious, that's just who you are. When in reality, no, it's not who you are. You might have a personality that amplifies your anxiety, your depression, the things that you deal with, but it's not who you are, you know? And I think that that's kind of an example here, is I feel like she's kind of lumped the trauma and the PTSD and everything she has as who she is at this point, you know? And that's the hard thing, is she's like having to learn to separate them and to overcome. And you don't, that's the thing too, is mental illnesses aren't necessarily something you overcome or they just go away, but you learn proper ways to deal with them, you know? And you're not always going to have great days. You're not always going to have days where you're put together. But that's the thing, is accepting the fact that it's okay to have those days. This turned into like a self-help kind of podcast.
Well, that's what the message of this episode is. It's like, if the Avatar is dealing with this, it's okay kind of thing.
True.
Like, everyone deals with this, even the Avatar. Even though she's a fictional character, like, you get the message that they're putting across, which I think is amazing.
Yeah.
To show that even the strongest of people can be brought down like that mentally.
Yeah.
Is like, it's sad, but it's like, it shows that we're all the same in a sense, that we're all human.
Yeah, we all have feelings, we all have emotions, we all have things that affect us, and it's different for everyone. But yeah, that's so true. That's such a good observation, you know, because I think we forget that regardless of who you are, everyone goes through stuff like that. Everyone has a moment where they're not mentally stable, you know? Like,
our society is very individualistic, but I think where we go wrong is we go too individual. We think that we can do everything on our own. We think that we don't need a community at certain times. It's like...
And that if you do ask for help, you're weak.
Yeah.
Or if you do
the fact that there's still such a stigma around mental health...
Oh, yeah.
blows my mind.
Yeah.
Like, we're in 2021 and there's still a stigma around this. It just crazy.
The fact that we worship people... And I mean, there's nothing wrong. If you got somewhere working hard and you did it all by yourself,
more power to you.
Literally, that is an amazing thing to be proud of.
Yeah.
And you shouldn't be looked down on. But I also don't think that we should look down on people or encourage people to have to do stuff by themselves. You know, it's like when you're 18, you're supposed to move out, be independent, live your own life. And then it's like, if you're still living with your parents or if you're still living with family members, people will even be like, you're still doing that? And it's kind of like, we're helping each other out. Well, it's one thing if you're like 40 years old, you don't have a job, you're not doing, and there's no reason for you to not be independent and you're not helping your parents in any way. You know what I mean? But if you are working as a community together, there's nothing wrong with that. I think that's the way that life is meant to be spent, with your loved ones and your friends, a community helping each other, you know? It's kind of like online it's like the Avatar community. Before we were part of it, I mean, we didn't have this whole group of people to talk to or to interact with. And now that we're here, it's like you're a community that supports you and loves the same things you do, you know, and will help you if you need it.
Yeah. this episode.
This is like the deepest, but it's because it's like you said, it provokes those thoughts. You can't help but think about it in that way.
Yeah, this is like the relief moment in the series. I feel like this episode, if you could pinpoint it, I feel like it'd be this episode.
Yeah, I think this is a really good episode because it is just Korra alone, but you learn so much about what she's been going through without her even talking, you know? The flashbacks she has, the things you're seeing her go through.
Well, and her being weak. She's never been weak. Like, and so this is like a huge shot to her entire existence. Like, not just her ego or her...
Well, it's like I told you, her biggest asset is her biggest downfall. She's such a tenacious, strong-willed person, but because of that, that's also what brings her down, because when she can't reach that level that she thinks she's meant to be at, she beats herself up, you know? She's like, wow, you're worthless, you're weak, like, you're not doing anything. And it's kind of like when that guy from the last episode, at the end of it, asks her, like, oh, where's the avatar? And she was like, I wouldn't know. Like, even that response is like, she's over it, you know? She hates herself. She's in that mode of like, and she, even this episode, she even says, my friends are out doing stuff and I'm here trying to rehabilitate. I can't do anything. Nothing's working.
When I first watched that scene and she gets mad at Katara and she's like, your healing's not working, I hated Korra in that moment because I'm like, what the heck? But everyone's been through that moment at least some point in their life, and if you haven't, I feel like it's something you will eventually relate to. It's like you are so distressed, even in the face of someone that is doing everything they can to help you. It's not enough.
Yeah.
And you can see where that can get really tiring and like, I just want to give up, you know? That's like with everything. You just have to keep pushing through those waves.
That is the hardest thing in life, is when you have to keep pushing and you have no will to go on, you know? And it's not like you can see a glimpse of your future.
That's where the character development really kicks in.
No, it is, because those, in these shows and in real life, like, that's how you create the person you're meant to be, or the things, the good, solid things in you. Because it's not like you can see a glimpse of your future and be like, oh, if I keep going, that's where I'm going to go. You have no idea. It's like, even Katara, I always want to say Korra. Katara tells her, because Korra's like, what, like, am I going to get anywhere? What's it going to be like in the future? What's going to happen? And Katara's like, I don't know. Let's find out. And I told you, I said, I respect Katara for being such a positive influence, but realistic too. She's not like, oh, you're going to make it. Everything's going to be rainbows and sunshine and you're going to be fine. She's like, you know what? I really don't know what's going to happen, but I'm here to help you figure out.
Katara is the wisest person, I feel like.
Oh, yeah.
By far.
By far.
Because she's been through it. She's experienced all of this before. Multiple times, you know?
Yeah, I really enjoyed this episode. It was really raw and thought-provoking, obviously, because listen to it just go on.
Yeah.
It hits you in those spots that, like, until we started talking, I didn't even realize that's what it brought up, you know? Or the different themes that are in this episode. But like you said, I think the biggest thing is, like, even the strongest people go through the hardest things.
Well, there was a couple moments throughout this episode where I was like, she's just gonna, like, end it all.
Yeah.
Like, I would not be surprised if she, you know? Yeah. Because, like, she doesn't really have a reason throughout this episode, most of it, to be alive. Like, if the world's been able to thrive and get done without the Avatar, what is her purpose?
Yeah, and that's what she's noticed. And she's like, the world has gone on without me. She's
having to find her purpose within herself.
And she doesn't even know what she's searching for till that spirit comes around. Till she finds Toph. You know, she doesn't know. Can you imagine? I mean,
years?
We've all, like you said, we've all been in our own version of that. You know, we've all had a moment in our lives where we have felt like so overwhelmed and not know what we're looking for. Not knowing, like, how many times have you just been on the floor crying, at least for me, and been like, what am I doing? What is my life? Like, what am I supposed to do? What's my purpose? You know, like, that's a hard thing. And as the Avatar, I can't imagine what that feels like, because you have the whole world watching you. You have the whole world watching you, and it's going on without you. Like, things are doing okay for the most part. You know, we'll wait till the other episodes, but you know what I mean?
I guess we shouldn't say okay because Kuvira is rising to power.
But she doesn't know how bad that is.
True.
Yeah, you know? So to her, she's just like, man, everything's going so well without me. On top of already feeling how she's feeling. It's just another hit to her self-esteem and to her character, you know?
Yeah. She's a strong character, though. Like,
the fact
to be able to just...
that she makes it through this.
Yeah.
You want to talk about the end where we see Toph?
Yeah.
Okay, as you guys know, Toph has never been my favorite character. I like...
That's where we're going?
I like Toph, but I don't, like, the hype around her, I'm like, okay, like, you know, I don't really understand it. I mean, I understand it, but I'm not a fan of it. I guess that's how I say it.
So you're a pick-me. I'm just kidding.
What's a pick-me?
You...
What, like, oh, I'm different from everyone else because I
you're
don't
not like
like
most
Toph.
girls.
No, it's not like that. That makes me sound... Okay, if you guys could see the way Isaac's looking at me right now, he's like, I'm not a pick-me girl, okay? Maybe with other stuff when I was younger, I definitely was a... You know how...
I feel like
you're a teenager,
guy or girl, everyone's a pick-me girl.
when you're a teenager, there was... I didn't like the color pink in high school because I was like,
Even
girl
though you
likes
got home
the
and you
color
were
pink.
like...
And I felt like I had to hold in this love for the color pink.
Cringe.
Now I let it all out. I love pink. Anyway. But seeing Toph here and having her say, like, it's good to see you, Twinkle Toes, I kind of teared up because the Avatar still, even though she doesn't have Aang in the past Avatars with her, that spirit is still there because Toph can't see. So she can only sense things. So the fact that she still sensed the Avatar spirit in her when she didn't have Rava, you know, and was called her Twinkle Toes, like, how crazy and how cool that, like, when you're friends with the Avatar, you can connect with them even after they've passed.
It makes me wonder how spiritually in tune Toph is.
Oh, you know she has to be, like, one of the most in tuned people out there.
But they never really showcased it in The Last Airbender.
Yeah, I would love...
I mean, they showed her in the spirit wilds, but that was, like, her spirit, if that makes sense. Like, I don't know if that was necessarily her, as much as it was just, like, Aang's prophecy, like, follow me.
Yeah. I don't know. I would love to see... I mean, I say this every episode, but, like, Toph, a spinoff about her, like, teenage into, like, older life.
There
I'd
was
be really
that
interested.
comic that came out recently where that one girl, like, defeated her.
Oh, yeah. I gave it away. I did a giveaway for it.
Oh, we did?
You can tell who runs the giveaways around here, huh? Yeah. I haven't read it. I want to read it. You know what I'm excited for? Off track a little bit. The Suki comic. I pre-ordered it. Comes out in July.
Oh, I want a whole spin-off of every single character. Even
to go,
Smellerbee.
Okay. I have to go
No, I'm...
pre-order the pop figures that come out in July, too.
I am actually very curious to see what goes on behind the scenes of, like, Jet's whole crew. Like, even that, like...
Any Avatar series?
Picture this, a one-off season all about Jet's and his whole crew's, like, time in the trees.
Like, how they how they came together.
Yeah, their adventures,
I'd watch
who
that.
they are.
I mean, like...
And then at the end of the whole series, it could be, like, meeting up with Katara, and then that's the end.
Oh my gosh, that would be
to
cool.
Connect the timelines.
Oh, that would be okay when you connect timelines and stuff like that.
Satisfying.
It's the most satisfying.
It's like
thing
in
ever.
Rogue One. Is it no?
No. It's the Mandalorian when Luke Skywalker. Oh, we can't. I feel like that's like a spoiler
Spoilers
for people.
For Star Wars. I don't know why we're talking about this, but Rogue One at the end of it, when they it takes everything, they all die to get the, like, data whatever to
I've never seen
the
Rogue
ship.
One.
And then Princess Leia is on it, and they barely get away. They sacrifice their lives, but we wouldn't know that.
Yeah.
We didn't know that when that movie came out in, like, the 70s until Rogue One came out, and we were given that extra backstory.
Yeah.
I think that stuff is so cool.
I do too. I love when they tie stuff together like that. It's like you said, it's so satisfying. We're so off of the topic again, but we did talk very deeply about this episode, so I think we did a pretty good job.
Yeah, this one of my favorites.
Yeah,
in the Avatar universe.
I am really looking forward to season 4.
I love deep philosophical episodes like Zuko Alone, The Storm, Korra Alone.
Yeah,
The Swamp.
I love very thought-provoking shows and episodes because it makes you sit and kind of like reflect on your own life in different ways, you know?
Yeah, and it's very relatable.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, for sure.
I think I like it too is because, or the reason I like it too is because we don't see it much in cartoons. We see it in like anime, but that's like its whole other cartoon type of thing.
Mm-hmm.
But like Western cartoons, especially on Nickelodeon.
Yeah, you don't see stuff like that.
Yeah, so it's refreshing to watch.
Definitely, I agree.
But
so
anyways,
who's your favorite character?
Who's your favorite jam?
Who's your favorite jam?
Korra.
Yeah, that's right.
By far.
I would have to say Korra so far.
Katara though too.
Yeah, I do like Katara, but I mean, like, I feel like Katara's like for me to say that would still be unfair because I'm like I liked Katara all through Avatar. Like I'm trying to focus more on like Korra characters.
The thing about Katara is like she can only do so much though.
You know, okay, can I mention something that we were talking about downstairs? So the gang that surrounded Aang in Avatar: The Last Airbender was so much stronger and had so many more abilities than the gang that follows Korra around.
Yeah, and the gang that follows Korra is 10 years older.
13 to 16 years old, and then you have like 17-year-olds. Like, these kids are a lot stronger than them. And look, Toph introduced everyone to metal bending and trained people. Katara is like the best healer there is. And then you have Aang, who was the last airbender and the Avatar, and Sokka, who was just Sokka. You know what I mean? Like, you have all these great people who made such an influential impact on the world. Then you have Mako, Bolin, and Asami.
This is going to get kind of deep.
Okay.
You can relate this to our society. Think of the time back then in The Last Airbender. 100-year war. You're on like the 100th year. Mm-hmm. Nothing. It's the same old, same old. Our village might get destroyed and we might die.
Mm-hmm.
Everyone is constantly on edge. Wartime around the entire world.
True.
There is going to be people that want to stop this.
Mm-hmm.
And those people are the ones that Aang will find, and they will find Aang.
Yeah, that's true. That is really deep.
Katara, Sokka,
dang,
Toph,
you're
Zuko.
In a deep mood today. Zuko took some fighting.
Whereas Korra, we don't have a war, and there's not necessarily a threat that's like...
There's threats that come and go, but like, the thing is like, when Unalaq and Vaatu were doing their thing, and even Amon, even Zahir, like... There's people living in the Fire Nation not knowing what's probably going on. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, living their lives. It's kind of like in today's world, like the things that go on around the world that we don't even know about or are affected by, you know?
But I think of Republic City as like a world hub.
Mm-hmm.
Like, everyone knows what goes on there kind of thing. Kind of like when you're in America.
Yeah.
And it's like, we always hear about like LA, New York, Seattle, all these places.
Mm-hmm.
Because they're like hubs of that region or something.
Yeah.
But I was saying, I feel like the reason why Team Avatar and Korra isn't as motivated, I would say, I'm not going to say they're not as strong, because I still think they have it in them. Okay, look at Asami, what she's able to do without bending, though.
True. But...
I just think...
Okay, Suki or Asami, go.
Suki.
Yep.
I'm sorry. I love them equally, but Suki is better.
I love Asami and I love Suki, but Suki to me is like so top tier it's hard to beat. I've loved her since Avatar in general, you know?
Well, and she is
wish I was
such
Suki.
A deep lore with them.
Yeah.
She's there since like episode 3,
why
was it?
I can't wait for her comic. Oh my gosh. I want to know so much about her.
She is Katara's sister.
Yeah.
I mean, we don't know what happens.
Okay, if they make Sokka and her break up, but then let Mai and Zuko stay together and Aang and Katara, I'm gonna be real pissed.
Yeah, that's a little...
Because, like, they were ready to go in the tent and be like, boom, chicka, bow, wow. And they're like, what, 16? So, I mean...
But it's just that they were 16. Like, is it going to be the same when they get older?
Same with Zuko and Mei. Same
True,
with Aang and Katara.
If anyone's going to break up, it's Zuko and Mei.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Definitely. They've been on rocks since the beginning.
They've actually broken up before multiple times.
Yeah, they're the on and off couple that will always be together. And they'll, like, get married, get divorced, then get married, then get divorced. You know, they'll be that couple. But they'll always come back.
How annoying. Like,
and they're always in your friend group.
If you're just in a funk with your relationship, don't get a divorce if you know you're just going to get remarried to that same person.
But that's the thing is, they're like,
it takes that divorce to make them understand.
This time is going to be different.
Yeah. No, this time...
I really mean it. We're over. I'm never getting back with you.
Anyways, we've gone all over, but... This is a really, really good episode.
Yeah, I'm excited. We wanted to keep watching, but we've resisted. Yeah, this was really good. Thank you guys so much for listening. Let us know what you think about this episode. Do you agree with us? Are there different things that you noticed, or did it make you feel a different way? Because I'm curious. I always love to hear other people's opinions and thoughts on it.
Yeah, especially with this episode. There's so many things you could talk about.
Oh, yeah, definitely.
But anyways, I am Isaac.
I'm Rachel.
And we will see you next time on Let's Talk Avatar.
Bye.
Bye.
Thank you for listening to today's episode. If you want to connect with us outside of our podcast, you can find us on Instagram at Let's Talk Avatar. As always, thank you so much for your support.